Hello, team. What is going on? I hope we are all winning today. This is our third podcast, and today I have an incredibly awesome but young guest today. His name is Jez. He began his entrepreneurial journey at the tender age of 13. He created Jailbreak, which is a clothing brand. He has now moved up to do Social Class, which is kind of like social media marketing. He's been interviewed on the BBC as well as countless other journals, etc. And today he's here to talk a little bit about his entrepreneurial journey. He's 20 years old right now. And I think, in fact, I don't think that's a huge lie. Forgive me. I know that he's a massive inspiration, and is an inspiration for so many kids out there that want to do more and have more in their life. All they've got to do is get their own way. And I know this guy personally, and I've seen his journey, and I love it. Jez, how do you do, my good sir?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I appreciate you on this podcast.
No worries, bro.
Edit this part out. I'm 18, not 20.
I thought you said you were 20.
No, 20.
Where did you come from? Oh, okay.
18. Right. No,
he's 18 and he's
yeah, redo it. Remember.
Redo it.
18.
He is 18 years old now. There you go. I was just going to put that in.
Perfect.
Yeah, let's go for it, dude. So where did 20 come from, man? Where did 20 come from?
I have no idea. 18, one business. That was my response.
Bro, that's really subconscious. It's just like, I love that. And I love that you said that. So I said, no, bro, I'm 18. I'm young.
Let's do this in 2 years and then bang.
Yeah.
Use that clip.
Release this in 2 years.
Perfect.
So how you doing, man? You good?
Yeah, doing well, thank you. Been surviving, but yeah, been quite busy. How about yourself? You been good?
Yeah, really good. Cheers, bro. Yeah, awesome. I've been thriving, getting through it. I know this is very, very tough time that we're living in. We're currently in 2021 now, bubbles, lockdown, etc.
Yep.
And if I was to be honest with you, bro, I was a bit emotionally attached to it to start with, but now I'm just going with the flow and controlling my controllables, mate.
Yeah, best way to do it. Same here, to be honest.
Yeah,
if you can't control it, then don't bother.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. So I gave you a little bit of I gave the people, watching a little bit of a mini introduction, but why don't you explain a little bit about you, dude?
Sure. So my name's Jez Parsons. I'm 18 from Rugby, Warwickshire, which is in the Midlands. And like Dale said earlier as well, multiple different press outlets have covered what I actually do. And over the space of around 5 years or so now, going into 21, 5 years of doing business, I've had clothing brands, basically tried everything, and now I'm finally finding my feet, I guess. And fingers crossed, by the end of this year, I'll be where I want to be.
Wonderful. Cheers for that, dude. And I've got a problem with the word try, because I always think of Yoda. You either do or do not. There is no try. But when it concerns kids or people that are trying to find their passion, I want kids to try as much as they possibly can, as in try so many different things, go through many different fails, do a clothing brand, do a water park brand, whatever it may be, just something random, be an author, write a book. If it fails, good, then go on to the next thing.
Yep, 100%. And how are you supposed to know if you're good at any of it if you don't try?
Dude, 100%. But we first met when you were a videographer, and you were videoing me when I was doing my talks in schools. And you obviously did a fantastic, amazing job, by the way, because you were editing as well afterwards.
Thank you.
And it was awesome. And I remember we drove up to Blackpool together on a medical conference, and I was to inspire the young kids, which unfortunately have got diagnosed with Turner's, and inspire the parents as well as the lead professionals there as well. And you came with me, dude. How was that experience?
Yeah, that was, well, first of all, I think that was the longest we've ever spent together at all, never mind whether that be at Cafe Nero or even in a car. So there and back, and it was something like crazy, like 7 o'clock in the morning, and then coming back at home for like 10 o'clock at night. And that was when I was going through a stage where I look back on it now, and I was speaking to my parents about it earlier, of how much work I actually had to put in. At that point, I was doing videos every single day for a client, also on the weekends, manually pressing upload for the client, but also anyone else. So, for example, if you came in the office and you wanted videos, then it would be like, right, okay, yeah, sure. So that's how that opportunity came about. So at the time, I was just video crazy, doing the videos, showing up, editing, posting them for everyone. So the whole process. And yeah, well, coming back from there, not only was the event great because I actually, firsthand saw what you did, and also got to meet some amazing people, and the dinner was brilliant as well. I remember going through the buffet. But I think the best thing was on the way back, and Blackpool's 3 hour journey, so it's quite a long time. And I remember just coming back and just speaking to you, and I was thinking at the end of the day, he's just done the whole day of doing what he does best, so he's not really going to have time to be able to talk to me or help with any of my problems, which I didn't even think I had. I thought I was all good, but only when you start to speak to someone like yourself, it's like, well, why aren't I like him? And it's like, well, what does he have that I don't? And it's like, okay, well, he's just a human. He's the same as me. He hasn't got anything that I can get or have or whatever. It's like, well, it's something you can't buy, and it's something you can't necessarily just go to the shop and get. And it was like, right, okay, it had something about him. And it was like, well, what is it? So after speaking to you for that long period of time, I remember just getting out of that car, just thinking, okay, I felt taller. When I stepped out of the car, I felt taller. And I'm a small guy. So that's, so that's saying something. And it was a weird moment where I came out of the car, and the next day people noticed it as well. And I genuinely think, as cliche as it sounds, I had that sense of I robbed your confidence. I took a bit of your confidence, and I thought, you know what? You don't need that much, so just give me a little bit. I'll take some. And I generally think, ever since that day, as cliche and as cheesy as it sounds, it improved me a lot, even though I didn't realize it. But it used to get to the point where I used to be, scared and nervous of going to events, whether that be networking events or just generally going into places or meeting new people on a one-to-one basis, shaking and everything else. Whereas now it doesn't matter, because it's like, what do they have? Not even from a big, egotistical way. It's like, what do they have on me? Because they're exactly the same as they are, as I am, if that makes sense. So yeah, first of all, I'd like to say thank you. But yeah, that event was amazing.
Yeah, dude, you're very welcome. I completely, by the way, I know it's a year old, but I completely forgot to send you the invoice. That'd be £2,000, please. I'm only joking. Yeah, well, that's the thing, isn't it? I love that you've just said that. You stole my confidence, but I think all I think I did was just initiate a little light inside your brain to shine on a different part that hasn't been shone upon before, and it's helped you to generate your own confidence. Because I always believe confidence is self-manufactured. It comes from within, but sometimes we need to expose it somehow. And if that's a knock on the head, if that's a painful memory, if that's unfortunately someone close to us dying of cancer, if that's us winning the lottery, if that's somebody who's having a conversation with us, if it's a role model, whatever, then that's wicked. And that's exactly what I want to do for so many people that are your age and a hell of a lot younger. So let's just dial back a little bit. Let's go a little bit further. So you were 13 years old when you kind of had initiated thoughts about becoming an entrepreneur. And that's when I say that, I often see people squirm and think, oh, show off, or oh, money grabber, oh, businessman, meh. And what the idea of this podcast is to help kids and parents understand your journey through that. Because for me, I didn't want, Jez, mate, I did not want to work for somebody else's dream. I did not want to put money in somebody else's pocket. When did I realize that? When I was 28 years old. You realized it when you were 13.
Yeah. 100%.
Kudos to you. And you've got to have a certain amount of stones to do that, and you had. So just briefly, how were your thoughts flowing at the age of 13 to have your own company and business, to make money for yourself?
Yeah, well, I think it's one of those where, back then, I don't even know, until I was around 15, 16, I didn't even know what an entrepreneur was. The only time I'd ever heard of entrepreneur is when I was looking through Instagram, and almost every single person had it in their business Instagram page. And it's like, I didn't even know what it was. So here's me trying to search it up. And I was like, well, I'm not putting it in my Instagram bio if I don't know what it is. And it's like, oh, right. Oh, well, I better pull it in. And then at one point I took it out because it was like a trend. Like everyone did it. It's just like, well, there's no point. But yeah, the age of 13. But while I didn't even see it as a long term, I think that's what I've learned over time is like long term thinking. But it's literally started off as did a lot of skating at the skate park. And around the same time, there's a new skate park that was built in where I live in Rigby. So I thought, you know what would be cool is if I could be at the skate park 24/7 without being there. And I don't even know why, but I think it was a case of well, I'm down there so often. I used to be sad when I had to come home for tea or for lunch or this, that, and the other. So I was thinking, well, why don't I always be there? So people are always talking about me. And when I go back down, I'll have more friends at the skate park because they all enjoy what I want, and they all enjoy doing tricks and whatever else. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to create some stickers. And I was on a holiday in Miami, took a photo of like some Mickey Mouse, came home, and I think I went on, I just typed in image editor and just typed in jailbro. Don't know why it's called that, but Nike is only one word and you remember it. And also, if you type it in on Google, it's the first result because no one else is going to call a brand jailbro. So I didn't have to pay for anything to get it to search first or anything else. So I thought, actually, start off with 20p stickers. They weren't even waterproof. And people were chucking like 50p's at me. It was brilliant. And all these stickers, they were all gone in like the space of a week. And at the skate park, well, everyone, like, you just pop them up everywhere. I remember going into school and it being on like the science, like in the classroom of the science locker. So where all the textbooks are. I'm thinking, how has it even got there? And then, they can't say anything because, it wasn't me. So that's how it started. But from a mindset level, it was just the case of it gave me something to do. I was sitting around being bored. And, with the amount of time people, kids, families, whoever are just sitting around being bored, you could build a business, you could build a city, you could build whatever, your body. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to create this and see where it goes.
Yeah, and that's amazing. Nice one for that, buddy. I really appreciate that. Just picking on the board thing just there, I think that's really interesting because there's a lot of parents these days that think they have to have an antidote for their kids' boredom. That's not the case. If anything, it's a realm of creativity. So I either say to people or tell them to say whatever they want to choose. For me, it motivated me when someone said, Dale, only boring people get bored. So, well, I don't want to be boring. I'm going to think of something to do. Or this is a bit harsher. Only stupid people get bored.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say that to somebody. But the next one is if somebody says to me, Dad, I'm bored. And I would say, oh, wow, I love bored. And then just walk away. Because it opens up an opportunity to create an experience of creation to help you excel. And that's exactly what you did. For you to be bored to create that is just profound. It's really, really, really cool. And then you had a taste for it and then you kept on going until it amalgamated into something different like you are right now. Because I know that you're in your own business now called Social Class, which is social media marketing.
Yeah,
which is brilliant. And I know that you were when you were growing up, you were surrounded by people that were earning a hell of a lot more money than you. And one of your little goals was to, I want to earn more money than them in a month. And boom, it happened. Yeah. It didn't happen like that. You had to work your socks off, which is a very good thing. So
it took a while.
Yeah, it did. I bet it did take a while. Yeah, well, I think that's really cool. You had little discipline, motivational blocks as you kept on going. So that was cool. Just on that front, when you did realize, oh my gosh, I'm earning more than the people that I surround myself with the most. Obviously, you may have shown off. I don't really know. But what was the feeling like inside?
It's one of those, and I didn't really think about it. So I hit the goal, in a matter of a few months or so. Figured it out, and at that point, I was just doing anything, videos, editing, this, that, and the other. And I got there, and it was like, right, okay, like it's cool, but I don't think I even realized because one thing I've tried to do is always track my finances, and at that point, I didn't even realize I'd done it. So I was probably like 3 months late to knowing. So it was like, right, okay. And then I thought, oh, okay, fair enough. But it felt great inside. But it wasn't until my friend actually sat down and said, okay, so what do you do to celebrate? And I was like,
amazing.
What do you mean?
Amazing.
And he says, well, when you do something, so you've probably hit one of your goals or you're going to. I hadn't told him anything, so there was no context for him. He says, what do you do to celebrate? And I just laughed because I was like, well, what exactly are you celebrating? And he's going, celebrating the wins. And in my mind, I was thinking, if I'm going to celebrate something, it's got to be like some massive, huge thing. And it's like, well, no, because the only way you get to the big things are by celebrating the small things. And I'm not saying celebrate as in earn X amount and then spend that whole money, but it's like, right, okay. So now it's one of those where to answer the question, I guess it felt great, but it almost felt normal. Like I didn't experience say, oh my God, and go buy this, that, and the other, or whatever, because I've always tried to have, very structured, very disciplined. So it wasn't even like I could go to McDonald's because I can't have fast food. So it's one of those where I came out of that meeting with him and I thought, right, okay, what am I going to do to celebrate? And I thought, well, I don't actually need anything. So now the way I celebrate and reward myself for these wins are by small little things like a protein bar, like small, tiny little things. But it's almost like there's an action, a trigger, and a reward. So like the action might be to go to the gym, and the trigger might be a notification on my phone saying go to the gym. And every day at 3 p.m., for example, go to the gym, go to the gym, go to the gym. And the reward is the protein bar at the end, or the reward is the protein bar in the session. So it's like, right, okay. And then I did that for everything. So, when I was doing jailbreak, year 8 to year 11 or so, I was waking up at 5:30. Most days trying to wake up at 5:30, and that was the action. And then I went to the gym, and then the reward was coming home and having a nice breakfast and being ahead of everyone. So I think it's one of those where from that experience of earning financially what I wanted to achieve, I could then go and implement it going forward, regardless of what it was, school or whatever. So yeah, it was a great feeling. But looking back, like that was when things changed a lot.
Wow, there's so many questions that I'd like to ask you. First one would be, do you believe that this journey so far has taught you a certain amount of discipline?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say that it taught me discipline and how important it was, because I think it's one of those where if you don't have discipline, and when I say discipline, just to explain to those out there, it basically means like you need to do something without having to legally do it or being told to do it. Like you do it off your own back. So it's like you go to school, like you just do it. You don't get told by mum and dad, you just do it. So you have the discipline to go to school. And it's like, oh, okay, well, I've got homework. It's like, all right, okay, well, I'm just going to do the homework. And, after school, stay at school, do the work. And when I come home, I don't have to do the work because it's already done at school. It's like, right, okay, discipline because you've done it. Same with working out, same with this, that, and the other. Even the parents not staying in till 12 o'clock on a Saturday and Sunday morning. It's like discipline, wake up at 9, because now you haven't wasted 3 hours of your life every weekend. And then over time, compound effect, it all just builds up. So yeah, I think it definitely taught me discipline. 100%.
Yeah, because there's a lot of parents that are out there that find it hard to teach their children discipline. And I don't mean discipline as in like you will go to your room and sit on the naughty step, you naughty boy. I don't mean that. I mean self-discipline. And I think that stems from having a high level of self-regulation. And I think that you are very great at self-regulation. It's almost as if you started doing something like going to the gym or doing jailbreak. You saw the benefits, maybe not tangibly, as in maybe not, you didn't get like loads of money to start with, or you didn't see a six-pack or something, even though you pretty cut anyway. You lucky swine, you.
I tried to get bigger, but trying to keep it at the same time.
And you didn't see the immediate effects, but you created a habit. You created a habit, and you created that as part of your life. And wow, I'm just imagine if a parent had maybe there's some out there that are listening to this that have their child getting up at 5:30, having goals for their body, having goals for their own mind. So there's a lot of parents out there that would love to encourage that. Now, for you and for me, I would say kids learn by watching, not being taught, especially when it concerns parents. I always say if the best lesson in the world for a kid is self-belief. And if you want them to believe in themselves, you as a parent have to believe in yourself first. That was in the very first podcast that we did. Okay. So for you, did you have any particular role models in your life that accidentally on purpose taught you to have that discipline? I know that you amalgamated it yourself, but what was the initial? Were there any role models in there?
Yeah, so, well, first of all, I've had a great upbringing, first of all. So it's one of those where I just naturally learned from them. One thing I've
Thank you,
learned
Mum and Dad.
Yep, 100%. And it's weird because it's just generational. So my granddad, a fireman, phone goes, he's off. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, in the morning or night. It doesn't matter. He's off. So it's like, right, okay. And then my dad does it. And then I do it. And it's like, right, okay. And then my kid will do it. But one thing I've learned, and a piece of advice to the parents, for example, is like, we're all just big kids. So you're a big kid, maybe more so than others. But a lot of parents, I think a lot of parents sometimes look at their kids and, hey, at the end of the day, what do I know? Because I'm not a parent. But they look at their kids going, they're my kids. And all they do is talk about their kids. But their parents do exactly the same. So you speak to someone's granddad or grandma, and all they do is talk about their son and daughter. And funnily enough, parents do exactly the same. And then when these people are complaining about their kids not having discipline, oh, the kid won't go to school day, or just doesn't want to do his homework. It's like, okay, well, when you've got a deadline for your corporate job, do you do it, or do you complain the day before the deadline? Oh, well, I complain before the deadline. And you solved the answer yourself. There's the formula. If you just lead by example, and yeah, they're not going to watch you all the time. A lot of them might be on the phone or iPad. But if they can hear you in the next room complaining about that deadline, then 100% you're going to get to the point where actually they haven't got discipline, which you're complaining about because you haven't got discipline. So I think that would be one thing. And, you may agree or disagree, but
I agree, dude. I completely agree. Sorry to cut you off, mate. And there's going to be many people out there that wouldn't be able to take this information, and they might be saying, "Oh no, they should learn." But there's many people out there that will be able to take this information on the chin and are able to have critical feedback, not criticism, critical feedback to think, "Oh, actually, do you know what? Let's just be vulnerable. Let's be accountable right now. Have I done that? Yes. So now I know. Now it's in my awareness. I can improve upon that." And it could be the same with a donut, couldn't it? So a mum could want to be losing weight or wanting to get in a wedding dress. I don't know. And I really shouldn't. Oh no, there's a muffin. Are they Krispy Kreme? I'll have half. Do you want to share them with me? It's just like, no. If you want that goal, if you want that important hit of happiness, not the little dopamine hit when you get that's only temporary, because things that are quick to come are also quick to leave.
Easy come, easy go. Yep.
Exactly. You want to work hard for it. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And the way I'm linking that to your question of the whole role models, for me, the role models, I wouldn't necessarily have one specific person. It would be, I like to try and take a piece of almost how I've took the confidence from you. I've taken perhaps this from the other, or my other friends or the other people I know, whether that be work-wise or just personal-wise. I've taken a bit from everyone, and essentially I'm just trying to build a character, because I don't want to look up to Elon Musk or so-and-so, because at the end of the day, you're not them. So it doesn't matter if you look up to them or not. So I'm trying to build my own character, my own Elon Musk, that no one will look up to, but I will, because that's who I want to be. And then if someone looks, do you think Elon Musk wakes up in the morning thinking, oh my God, yes, everyone looks up to me? It's like, no, because he probably has his version of like, this is cool. He's now the richest man in the world. His next tweet was, right, back to work, because he's not where he wants to be. So my role model, as bad as it sounds, would be me in 2 years. And the way that links to the whole parent thing that I said about earlier was, that's only because I've had the opportunity to have the friends and the business people around me to be able to create that character that I want to be. Whereas if your 11-year-old kid only knows his friends and his business people is switched out for his family, then who do you think they're going to grow up to be? And you see it all the time, no matter where you are, whether in the UK or abroad. The person you are is pretty much going to be exactly the same as your parents, whether you like it or not. Yes, there's going to be variables. They might like some funky trainers, whereas you like to have plain, simple clothes. But at the end of the day, you're going to be like them regardless, and not even genetics wise. You may speak like them, you may act like them, and you may have the anger, of them, etc., etc. So if you're going to be their role model as a parent, whether you like it or not, that's your responsibility. You've got to make sure that, if you were them, you'd be thinking, right, okay, well, am I confident? Am I, giving compliments? And the other thing I always moan about, which is ironic, is about complaining. If you complain, what are you complaining about? If you're an adult and you're complaining, what are you complaining about? And especially as a kid, because if you're complaining about the bills as an adult, then okay, that's cool. But where are you complaining, and how loud are you complaining? Because if you're complaining really loud, and the kids in the, in the living room or the dining room, what do you think the kid's going to do at school? I'm not doing the homework. It's too hard. Where have you learned that from? You see what I'm saying?
Dude, I know exactly what you're saying. And I just want to back you up just there, because there's a chap called Dr. Bruce Lipton who diagnosed the imprint phase. And that's before the age, roughly around about the age of 7, 8. But before that phase, that's where a child becomes an adult. I don't know if you've ever heard of the old Corinthians quote, "Give me a boy till the 7, I'll show you the man."
Okay.
That is when a child is being an adult, because they're trying to learn off you. They're learning not to spit. They're learning not to hit somebody, not to run across the road, how to drink water, how to eat food, how to cut their food, how to be angry, how to be sad, how to be kind, how to be selfish, how to be confident, and how to have an association with discipline. And it's all derives from that. So he says that over 70% of what you learn is what you teach a child is limiting, negative, and sabotaging. And I just want to give a bit of a disclaimer. Parents out there is no miraculous, special, magical book called The Ultimate Parent Blueprint. If there is, it's a load of rubbish, and don't buy it or give it any attention, because it's not true. It's impossible. You can't do it. So parents, they're doing the best they can with what they have available to them. And I think awareness is really important. And I think it's really cool. You're 18 years old. I don't care. You could give me advice right now. You could give me advice about anything. I'm not going to be like, oh, well, he's only 18 and I'm 36. So, he knows nothing compared to me. Dale, welcome to arrogant land. It doesn't matter, because if anything, you're closer to the age of the people that I'm coaching, and you're closer to the age of the kids than the parents. So in your world, it's a lot more transparent, and you can see a lot more because you've essentially lived it. So you are 18 years old. You've got your business, social class, which is social marketing. Where do you want to take it, bro? Where's the bit you said in 2 years' time is going to be your own role model? And you said it may sound bad. It's not. If anything, it's inspirational. Who is it bad for? I don't care. And if someone just say, "Oh, Jess, that's really arrogant. You're your own role model." Loser. Really?
Yeah. Who are they?
Really? Absolutely not. If anything, it's really powerful to be your own role model in 2 years' time. And I bet you, mate, any money, when you get to 20, your role model is going to be a 25 version of you.
100%.
Because you're going to get there and be like, "Oh, that was fun. I've achieved what I want to achieve. Okay, cool." Elon Musk.
Oh, yeah. Anyone that thinks that if they get to somewhere in life and they're like satisfied and happy with it, like there's no way that's it. Like it doesn't matter how old you are. Like if you get to a certain point and you think that's it, then the next day, like you're done. So if you get to Elon Musk, if I get to 20 and I think, right, okay, that's it, retiring, it's like, okay, well, what are you going to do? So, yeah, the whole 20-year-old me, I suppose, do you want me to go into like what that character looks like?
Yeah, let's not go into business. Let's not go into, I want to make sure I'm getting £15,000 a month. We don't need to know that. What sort of person do you want to be? Because I don't believe in New Year's. I do believe in New Year's resolutions because people make them, but I don't like New Year's resolutions. I think who is the person that you want to become in that year? So for you, what can the 20-year-old Jez look back to the 18-year-old Jez and thank him for right now? So who is he going to be?
Yeah, sure. So what I've done is try to build a character. So I see it as almost like a video game or something of that sort. So I've tried to build a character and what it could be. And one thing I've learned is like building a character, it involves no numbers, it involves no materialistic items, it involves things that you can't buy or just randomly get, right? So for me, the 20-year-old version, one wants to not even be, the cliche satisfied with where they are, because you can always do better. But I think I want to be able to look back on these 2 years, because I think it would be quite cool to be able to get to 20, because that's not only a good milestone, because then you can go, like you said, to 25, which is like a round number, and 30, etc., etc. But that person, one, is almost to some extent not overly confident, but so confident that it like no one's opinions matter, like at all, like whoever they are. And this could be anyone from someone I don't know to someone I do know to someone close, not close, to the point where I'm so quiet in my head. Like that's going to be the end game, and that might take 2 months, might take 2 years. It doesn't matter. But if I can get quiet in my head, then I've won. I want to be able to navigate around this video game, this world, just as me, because I'm the character. I am the one moving moving the gear sticks. So I want to be able to navigate through the world, as cheesy and whatever, but on my terms. So people might go, oh, okay, saying on the business wise, oh, you want to be your own boss or whatever. Well, not necessarily, because I just want to be able to move through the world the way I want to. And if this is the vehicle and this is what I'm going to have to do, then I'm going to do it. Does that make sense? So,
Yeah.
Anything from, one thing specific would be like plain clothing. So I don't want any like branded clothing necessarily. I just want super plain, like pastel colors. So like black, white, and super slim and just simple. Because I don't want to wake up in the morning thinking, right, should I put the Gucci? Should I put this? I just want to go, right, done, right, off. Because at the end of the day, are the clothes going to make you happy? No. But if you really enjoy going to the gym, then the main thing you should be focusing on is going to the gym and being at the gym, not what am I going to wear to the gym, which is where people get confused. People, might say, there's going to be someone, whether it be here, England, wherever, in exactly the same position. They've had their 18th birthday, which has been like a wake up call because they haven't, they've lived off of mum and dad. They haven't done anything until they're 18. They've gone, right, okay, well, I better sort my life out. So they make, right, by the time I'm 20, I want to drive a Lamborghini, I want to have a Rolex, I want to do this, and this, and I want to live in the Bahamas. And it's just like, well, it's not going to happen because you haven't done anything to prove to yourself over the past few years that you're even capable to achieve those things. So I think it's one of those where I've created this character that I believe in myself to be able to get to that point. Whereas a lot of people just randomly write things that other people have put into their head. Like wearing simple clothes. Like who's going to tell you to wear simple clothes? No one, because everyone's buying all this flash designer clothes. So for me, that's my own decision. My own decision to have a 2-year diet now, which I'm keeping on going with. My own decision to go after the things that I want and no one else. So hopefully that answers the question of like where I want to be. It's just like in my character, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's really cool, mate, because I believe what you've just said then is very powerful. I am the main character of this computer game. I'm in control of the joystick and the buttons. I'm going to control me. There's a phrase that I like to use for my clients, my young kids, called don't be an NPC. Don't be an NPC. And what's an NPC? An NPC is a non-player character, which basically just means, if you play Mario Kart and you fall off the end, the little cloud has got exactly the same facial expression with exactly the same little fishing rod, same cloud, goes down, same movement, picks you up, puts you on the track, flies off again. There could be another game with a shopkeeper that says exactly the same thing. What potions would you like? Would you like this elixir? Would you like this? Now you're at this level, you can achieve this. He will say exactly the same things over and over again, no matter if you play it at 4 a.m. or 4 in the afternoon. And he's not living in the computer game. He's just being an NPC. And what that looks like in real life is other people copying other people wanting to do things to fit in, other people doing a stupid, overly sexual TikTok dance because they want to go viral, even though they're a 13-year-old girl. Yep. It's quite alarming, really, how much social media and the marketing and advertising world makes things all pretty and colorful.
Yeah.
To entice you into selling their products, whatever it may be. But what they don't know, the buyers, the consumers, should I say, what they don't know is that what they're doing is they're preying on your primal needs of wanting to fit in, sexuality, and food, whatever it may be. I mean, if we go to a checkout right now, if we go to Tesco with a mask on, obviously, if we were to go there, right at the end or any of the other supermarkets are available, by the way. Right at the end, they've got all lined up all of the sweets, all of the chocolate, all of the crisps, and they might throw in a couple of little cheeky healthy protein bars, which is only called protein because it's got a percentage more, even though they've just added a few nuts in. It's just a nut bar. They've just put a few more nuts in, so they're allowed, air quote, to say protein, and they make it all pretty, and they make it all colourful, and they make it all enticing for people to buy it. Now, what's amazing about you is you've chosen, and I don't know how you've done this. I haven't got a clue, because I don't live with regret, but it'd be great if I figured this out when I was 15 years old. To be a producer, not a consumer. And that's another lesson that I teach the kids. If they're going to go on social media, because parents, unfortunately, look, they are, unless you ban them from doing it completely, which is just going to lead in a complete revolt and a revolution against you. Help them become a producer, not a consumer. So what are they passionate about? What do they love doing? How can they create or mold something for them to produce things for other people, instead of sitting there with your phone mindlessly scrolling? And there's so many parents out there that say, "Oh, he's just playing too much Xbox. He's playing too much PlayStation 4 or Fortnite or whatever." And I was like, "Okay, cool. How much Netflix are you binging on right now?"
Yeah.
I mean, is that and if you ban them from the Xbox, do you ban yourself from the Netflix? How old do I sound? The Netflix. And also if they're on TikTok and you're sitting there on Facebook and you turn over and say, "Get off, that should be TikTok," or I banned it, and you're still scrolling, there's a massive disconnect just there. It's so rich. And I know people are going to be like, "Oh, but I'm the parent." Oh, that's arrogant. That's not you're the parents. That's an arrogant, like you said at the beginning, bro, an arrogant little kid that's 40 years old or 30 years old that hasn't got their own way of them listening to you, living on your own expectations of them. And if they haven't met it like that, they're naughty. Well, I always say, before you challenge a behavior and choose to discipline your child, discipline yourself first.
100%. And you know, to the kids listening to this as well, whatever light you try and look up to me, or shine light on me type of thing, even though I'm this digital marketing entrepreneur, I used my phone for 18 minutes yesterday, and 5 of those minutes were meditation. 18 minutes, 24 hours, 18 minutes. If you're on your phone more than 2 hours a day, then what are you doing? In my opinion, if you're using your phone more than 2 hours a day, this goes for anyone, whether even if they're influencers, whatever, there's platforms that you can schedule your content on. If you are on your phone, and I'm not talking about necessarily like a phone call or anything else like that, I'm talking about social media. And if you have an Apple, it shows you your screen time. So it's not even like, oh, well, I only go on my phone, 20 minutes a day. You turn on screen time and it's like 20 hours. And you're like, oh, well, how? It's like, oh, well, because on Facebook, the never ending feed just, never stops. So even though, my business revolves around social media, 18 minutes. And you're like, oh, well, that could just be yesterday. Day before, 15. And, a week or so ago, like 1 hour and 47. So it's not even a case of just like, oh, it's super low all the time. It's because I've literally sat myself down and gone, what do I enjoy? It's like, does it require social media? And does anything, in my opinion, require social media? And it's like, okay, you want to try and build a brand or whatever, but do you need to physically be there scrolling, looking at other people's content? No. And if you do, then you go in, you do it, you do your research, you get out. So if you're like, oh, okay, I want to see what Charlie on TikTok's posted recently, you're like, okay, one, you don't need to, but if you really have to, go in, look at her posts, get out. You don't need to go to Charlie's sister's best friend, cousin, because they don't need to, even if the content's exactly the same. So yeah, 100% about the phone thing. And I'm not just talking about phones. If you haven't got screen time on your iPad, phone, everything, unless you're trying to build something, I'm not talking about like a Minecraft city, like an actual, I want to do better at school, I want to build my grades up and things like that, then you shouldn't even be on the phone anyway. Same for the parents. If you live your life on Facebook, you're not living.
Just existing.
100%. We're just watching what others are doing and then trying to be better than them. Oh, Karen's got a new Mercedes. Oh, well, I better go and get a Mercedes. It's like, no, you don't.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? There's a saying that says, goes along the lines of you spend money that you don't have on things that you don't want to impress and show off to people that you don't actually like. And that,
ridiculous.
dude, it's so chimp. It's so caveman
Yep.
inside of our brain of trying to fit in with the troop. It's absolutely crazy. So I believe if it was a child, watch this out, who's, I don't know, 11 or listening to this, sorry. And he said, and I haven't prepped you for this question, bro, so please forgive me. If he said, oh, Jez, how do you become an entrepreneur? First of all, the question's like, whoa, so broad. But what might you say about giving me encouragement? Is there 3 steps or 5 little things that you've picked up on that's helped you?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, I would say to them, you aren't the first person that's asked me, regardless of what age you are. So this example is 11-year-olds, but the other week I got messaged by, a 20-year-old and a 16-year-old. And it's like, right, okay. So, multiple people have asked me this. And the question is also, more people have asked me that, but the specific words, how do I become an entrepreneur, has been asked. But other people ask, how do I create an income, a living, this, that, and the other? How can I do what I want to do? And you've got to try and phrase it like, how do you become an entrepreneur, in a way that isn't just saying, we just go and do it. Because that's not going to help anyone, but it's true. So the first thing I would say, if I was speaking to an 11-year-old specifically, I would say, why? Like, I would just flip the script. Like, if they're asking me a question, then I'm going to ask them a question in return. And, one thing that I believe in as well is that everyone, and you might relate to this, but everyone, even if they're asking me a question, everyone has a sign above their head saying, give me attention. So the reason why someone's asking me, how do I become an entrepreneur, is because they want to talk to you and talk about them being an entrepreneur, right? So I would say, first of all, giving them the attention. Okay, so why do you want to become an entrepreneur, first of all? Because, I can tell you the secrets and the roots and everything else. But why? And if they turn around and say, because I want to buy the new Minecraft, for example, then it's like, right, okay, well, you can do that without being an entrepreneur. Because I think one thing at the moment, and you relate to this, is that business, entrepreneurship is like so glamorous and it looks brilliant. It's not. It's 100%. Like, I've tried to quit jailbreak like 5 times in the space of 4 years. It's so hard, and no one looks at it. People look at it and they go, "Oh, that's brilliant." It's like, yeah, but you don't realize how long it took me to be on BBC News. It took me like 5 years to get one BBC News link that I can send to people. And so the first thing I'd say is why. And if they gave me a valid reason, such as, a valid reason to me, it has to be quite specific, because I want to be like Elon Musk. Okay, well, then you don't want to be an entrepreneur. You just want to be Elon Musk, who happens to be an entrepreneur. But, for example, I think a good example would perhaps be to get my name out there. But again, I think at the end of the day, if you're trying to be an entrepreneur in some shape or form, it's got nothing to do with business. It's always something to do personal. So it could be, I want to be an entrepreneur. Let's use this as an example. I want to be an entrepreneur to get my name out there. And it's like, okay, fair enough. You want to get your name out there. So they do T-shirts with their name on, for example, or art design, whatever. It's like, right, okay, that's great. And, why do you want to do it is because I just want to get my name out there. And then you realize that they're not the popular kid at school. So it's like, they don't want to become an entrepreneur. They just want to get their name out there to just get some attention and for people to know who they are. So it's like, right, okay, that makes sense. Like, do you see what I'm saying? How it's gone from how do I become an entrepreneur to actually fulfilling something personal and like within. So
like the 7 whys deep, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's almost as if you've got to ask, if a kid comes to you and says, oh, how do I be an entrepreneur? You say, well, first of all, mate, what's your why? And ask yourself that why 7 times, and then we'll get to the real answer.
100%. And then the steps going forward from there, if you have a true reason, whether it be a personal reason, whether it be a money reason, whatever, you want to buy Minecraft, whatever else, I think the first thing would just be to make sure you pick something that you enjoy and that you're passionate about. Because if you aren't doing something you enjoy or you're passionate about, then I would recommend not doing it at all. And you might be thinking, oh, well, then I'm losing out on all of this opportunity. It's like, well, no, because the opportunity wouldn't come to you if you weren't enjoying it. And, you know, I've been there. You know, I've tried to do things that it's like, oh, this would work. But am I passionate about it? Do I care other than the end result? No, don't do it. And sometimes I have to just go, Jez, stop it. You know, because I used to get so distracted, like shiny object syndrome. Where it's like, oh. And then it's like, no, narrow focus, just do one thing. Because there's this graph where it's like 4 different bar charts, and it's like you could go 1, 2, 3, 4, or you could just have one, which is like up here.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
And, you know, why would you want to progress rather than just staying at the same level? So yeah, that's the first step would be to make sure that you enjoy it. The second step, if we're talking about right now in this moment and someone's listening to this, then try and do it online. And the reason why online specifically would be, and it depends what you're doing. One, because if you see it as like a long-term thing, you know, even if that's the space of a few months, then online. But 2, online, people don't care necessarily about your age. So one thing that I found in the past is sometimes you can go up to someone like I did when I was 13, and they would just go, but you're 13. And they could see I was 13 because I was standing there in front of them. And I was like, right, okay. And I'm trying to give this business advice that could help them for free. And they're going, yeah, but you're 13. And then, unfortunately, I wasn't in the position to be able to have anything behind me. So I was like, okay, fair enough. But when you do it a few times, you get used to it. So the second thing I would say, do it online if possible. But when I say do it online, I'm not talking about trying to make money from TikTok by posting videos or money from Instagram, trying to do this, that, and the other. I'm talking about doing something you enjoy. And you don't enjoy posting on Instagram all the time, I guarantee it. Anyone that enjoys posting on social media doesn't enjoy it. They just enjoy what they get, which is the likes, the comments, and like, oh, you're so pretty. It's like, so you don't actually enjoy pressing upload 24 times in a day. You know, that'd be silly. Whereas if it was something such as I want to sell tennis bats, you know, like tennis rackets, because I'm passionate about tennis and I believe that these tennis rackets, you know, are quite rare, or shoes, for example, then it's like, right, okay, no matter what, if you've got something someone wants, they will buy it from you online. And, you know, that'd be the thing that I would say if you can do it online. If not, then I would say also to do it in person. And you know, I know that's a bit contradicting, but if you can't do it online, like certain things like selling shoes, if you want to sell those shoes and sell them to London, you've got to post them. You're not going to be able to go to London. But if it's something such as I want to get Minecraft and do Minecraft, then I would 100% go in your street. You know, every street, like my street, has at least 12 houses on. So 12 potential customers. And go, right, is there anything I can do for you that you would pay me £5 for, £10 for, £15 for? And then you just create a list of, and you literally just show them the list. I'm just thinking of the top of my head here, but you could go, I could wash your car. I could pick up every stone in your driveway and put it into a bucket. So then when you put your new, you know, turf down, you don't have to pick up all the rocks. What else could you? You could go, right, okay, I can clean your bin. You know, my dad's got a jet wash. You know, I know how to use it. I'm trusted with it. I'm not going to, you know, go and shoot your house. I'm just going to clean the bin for you. And then you're like, right, okay. So that's that. And the third thing I'd say is do it for free, which totally blows the whole business side of things. But everything at the start, for at least your first customer, do it for free. And the reason why is because, one, you're so young. If you're 11 years old, you're so young. Like, that's before I even started. You're so young that people aren't going to necessarily take you seriously compared to someone that's, you know, further on in their life with experience. But if you do it for free, then they're not expecting anything from you. Because what happens, and, you know, tried and tested myself, I'm not just saying this for a laugh. I did it for free, and I did it for crazy cheap prices. And that was after like 6 months. So I did it for free. And then I started charging pennies, like literally just pounds, a few pounds for my work that I was putting loads of hours into it. But I knew in my head, like, yeah, well, this isn't good enough to charge. And it wasn't only really until the past year or so that I actually started charging myself where I need to be. I've been undervaluing myself for years because I know there's always going to be someone else that's better. So there's the steps, really. Make sure you're doing something that you enjoy. Second step would be do it online if possible. If not, do it in person. And if, depending on your goals. And the third thing is do it for free for your first customer, at least, whatever it is.
Yeah. And step 0 is find the why.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Before
cool.
you even start any steps, don't even do anything until you find the why.
I like that. Step 0. Step 0, no steps, use the why. I think that's really important. Yeah. Because kids could get to us way down the line and think, oh, I'm not enjoying this. And it might just be a complete waste of time. If they see it that way, obviously, if in my world, there's no waste of time because it's just an experience that can help grow you onto your next task, like you did with Jailbrow to then go on to social class. Yeah.
That's what I call them.
100%. Yeah, dude, we've spoken a lot today, man. But if you could have the ability to teleport in your past to your 11-year-old self, what would you want to say to him to help him impact on this world positively?
I'd say just close your eyes. That's what I would say. I would say close your eyes, and it's simple as that. And I don't mean physically, like as in close your eyes. I mean just close your eyes and just don't open them until you feel like you're where you need to be. And I'm doing that right now. Between January and June, I'm closing my eyes. And what I mean by that, and I would have done this sooner if I learned this lesson before, but I'm, at the moment, you're almost isolating yourself without choice. But I'm purposely getting to the point where I'm not looking at others on social media. Hence why 18 minutes, 15 minutes on my phone a day. So I'm not messaging anyone unless I need them, or if they want to have a conversation with me, or I want to have a conversation with them, which, to be honest, is only when you should be messaging someone. If you're messaging people 24/7 because you're bored, then just don't do it, because you don't want to message them. And have you ever been in that conversation on Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, that you send them a message and then you're having a conversation for like 4 days and you're thinking, why did I even send them the message in the first place? Because now I'm not bored and now I don't want to be rude because I've seen the message, but I have to respond. So
they've seen the blue ticks. I'm like, oh God, I've got to respond.
Yeah, literally. It's just like, just don't do it in the first place. So yeah, I'm shutting myself out from the outer world, but I'm also mentally cutting people out. So people that I don't want to be around, that I have either no choice to be around, or as in they live in the area, or I have to go to school or whatever with them, I'm just mentally cutting them out. If I don't like their energy, if I don't like what they're about, I personally, just having a thing, I don't think I'm properly friends. And there's a difference between friends and like acquaintances. So like people like I know a lot of people, not boasting, but I personally believe I know a lot of people. I know your friends, but I also know other people's friends, and I have nothing to do with them. So I have friends, and the only friends that I have are people that want to do something, no matter what it is. And if they're not, then in my mind, they're people I know. And I've mentally done that. I haven't gone to them and said, oh, I don't like you. I just smile and wave. Oh, how you doing? Oh yeah, everything's all right. Yeah, okay. Next.
And then reset.
It's just, so that's the first thing I'd say. Just close your eyes. No one else's opinions matter. And my other thing, my second thing would be just learn how to compose yourself. And that's what I'm trying to do at the moment. I'm saying this as an 18-year-old, you could do this as 11, but composure basically means everything, like your character now, if that makes sense. So your role model is the character in the future. Composure is you now. And what I mean by that is how you talk. I'm trying to be well-spoken. I don't want to have any, slang or anything when I'm talking necessarily. Even in my texts, I try and use voice notes because I want to be well-spoken. I want people to hear what I have to say if they are asking for it. So well-spoken, confident, it's everything from the way you carry yourself, the way you talk, the way you look, the way you feel. I want to learn composure. And this isn't something that you can just learn, like you just do an online course or you just do this, that, and the other. It's like you take bits from everything that you've learned. You take people, you take lessons from Dale, you take this, that, and the other, you do this, that, and the other. And then you're like, right, okay. And you're slowly building a character which is closing their eyes because they're not bothered about anyone else's opinion. And unless it affects them, that it doesn't necessarily matter. And they're focusing on the main thing and they're just composed. So, like I said earlier, if you're complaining about something, then what are you doing? You should be nice and composed. You don't want to have any arguments. You don't want to have any negative energy. And if you do, then you're like, base level all the time. So that's the two things I would say, and hopefully that's understandable as well.
No, that really is. That's great. Composure. Wow, I saw that as self-regulation. So not to react and just more respond and close your eyes. I love that a lot, because a lot of the time we can get caught in the noise, and it could be a visual noise, couldn't it? Of all these bright colors, like we said at the beginning. But it's just like, move on, move away, move away. And who would, I mean, excuse me, would you rather be trapped in a lift with a giant king cobra or a 50 tarantulas?
Less is more. So probably just the one, probably just probably just the snake, really, because then you can just control that one thing rather than 50 things. There's a lesson for you. If you can become friends with that one snake, you're going to be there forever, trying to be friends with all of these tarantulas. One snake.
Dude, I love that. I've said that to so many other people, and they said, "Well, I'll squash all these, and I'll wrestle the snake." You're like, dude, I'm gonna be bros with the snake and all the spiders. I'm gonna be friends.
Good luck, good luck wrestling the snake. Yeah, it's only one. Because if you're friends with him, then he could be on one side, you can be the other, and you could just wait.
Yeah, you can just chill.
Perfect. Yeah, I've had the snake around my neck in America, and he was fine. So that one could probably be the same.
Oh, nice one, dude. Cool. Well, thank you for that, mate. This has been fun. I've learned so many things. I've been taking a few notes as well to make sure that we can tell all of our listeners. But before we do go any further, if you want to, where can people find you?
Sure. So, well, I guess the main thing is I try and keep. So one thing I'm doing at the moment is the whole closing the eyes thing. But the main place really would be, I think if you want to learn more about me, I would have a look at my BBC News article. And the only reason I say that is because that not only stands out as an achievement for me, but it also gets an idea of who I am. Like, obviously the BBC know what they're doing. So I'd have a look at that. But I would also just do a Google search of just Jez Parsons. And the reason why is because then if you want to follow me on Instagram, then you can. But only if you go through there. Because I don't want you to follow me just because I've said, hey, follow me. And then you go on Instagram, follow me, and then end up scrolling on a feed for 2 hours. Like, if you just go on Google, you can have a look at, the news articles, the press. And, again, I always try and teach rather than talk about myself. So on these news articles, it's almost the other way around. Like, all they want to do is speak about me. So that would be the best place. And if you can't find anything on me, then just do different searches. So like Jez Parsons Rugby, Jez Parsons Jailbrail, and it will come up. And even if you have a look at the old Jailbrail stuff, I think I did a blog post every Sunday and Wednesday for like 3 years, which I handwritten. So I think that'd be a great thing to look at.
Nice, dude. That's really cool. Appreciate that, man.
No worries. Thank you for having me on.
Happy days. No, thank you for being on. Thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing everything. I believe the listeners are going to get so much from this, especially because you're so closer to the target audience of the kids, and to help them, inspire them, and to have self-discipline and to keep moving forward, have that really hard work ethic, and find out their why, find out who they want to become, and just find their purpose and their passion. Just enjoy it. And who they want to be. Their role model should be who they want to be. Well, not should, it's up to them. But ideally, who they want to be in 2 years' time. Who are they in 2 years' time? So, dude, thanks for that, mate. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And I will catch you, well, when lockdown finishes.
Yeah, 100%. Well, thank you for having me. Do you want to just make sure it saves before I leave?
Yeah, of course. What I'm going to do is end broadcast. So, everybody, I'm going to catch you next time. Dale signing out. Goodbye from the Young Life Warrior Project. Peace out.